Welcome to Polish Zoo. I'm delighted to meet you today. On Tuesday, August the 1st, 1944 at 17 hours, code name W for wolność, freedom, the Warsaw Uprising broke out. It was one of the most important and at the same time, the most dramatic event recorded in a history of the city of Warsaw. Planned for several days, it lasted over 2 months. Today, Polish Zoo wants to commemorate the insurgents and take part in the ceremonial commemoration of the 77th anniversary of the uprising. The insurgents wanted to liberate the capital from Nazi occupation before the arrival of the Soviet army, and thus ensure Poland's sovereignty after the end of the war. Insurgent troops, although numerous, but without adequate weapons, fought the regular, fully militarized German army. Unfortunately, without the help of the Allies, they had no chance of winning. They had hoped had never come. The uprising jammed between the two powerful Soviet and German armies was slowly bleeding out. The fate of Warsaw, called before the war Paris of the East, was sealed by an order issued by Heinrich Himmler, which read, "Every inhabitant should be killed, no prisoners may be taken. Warsaw is to be razed to the ground and thus an intimidating example of the whole Europe," he said. The capital of Poland was destroyed in almost 85%, and the inhabitants were expelled and jailed in prisoner of war camps, a lot of them killed. So today I would like to introduce Aleksandra Duda. Aleksandra, you have a great knowledge of what was happening in the Rising 44. You worked for the Museum of Uprising Museum of Warsaw, in which has been in operation for quite some time. Please, could you give us a little bit more background? How are we going to celebrate this event all the 77 years after it happened?
Very warm welcome to you all. I'm pleased to join you today. Well, in Warsaw, it's always busy in July and August when we commemorate the heroes of the city, those who did not hesitate whether it pays off to lose your life at the barricades. They knew it's their duty to defend their country. So we pay our respects to all those who sacrificed their lives at the barricades and had the courage to defend the cause. Yeah, so it's impressive that people of all orientations, all political denominations believe that this we spirit is of prior importance, and they are united in this common effort to commemorate those who perished in 1944. So this year, as almost every year, we prepared lots of events. We are starting with concerts and photo competitions that you may find at our Facebook and Twitter accounts, typing Warsaw Rising Museum. But of course, August the 1st, 5 p.m., Warsaw pauses for a minute of silence. So it's a very emotional moment when you may observe a moment of silence to those who gave their lives for freedom, for Poland, for the cause. Also, as every year, on August the 1st in the evening, Poles will unite singing songs from the times of the Rising and from the times of World War II. It's a beautiful tradition when people, the old ones, the young ones, sing together songs from the past as a symbol of something that's above everything, yes, something that comes from our heart, and love for the country, and or which makes us think of the most important things in our lives. So these are main commemorations this year. Of course, lots of events organized by different groups. You may find all the information at 19044.pl. So I encourage you to find the information there.
Thank you very much, Aleksandra. And I must tell you, I was the privy and I was the most honored and privileged to participate in this commemorations every single time. And I must tell you that I have never felt so proud of my country as it is at this W hour. It's absolutely fantastic feeling. I think for everybody, we all feel we are Warsawians. We really feel that we are Polish, and we really feel for the people who have perished. And the numbers were very, very great, because the uprising lasted together 63 days, and about 30,000 soldiers of the Home Army from Warsaw district joined the fight. Only 10% of them were actually armed. And as far as I remember, on the German side, there were about 20,000 fully armed soldiers standing up against this, almost boys, because they were, you know, young, very young people, right? And the Germans were armored, you know, to the hilt. They had artillery, they had aviation, they had everything at their disposal. So they're fighting the group of, you know, almost teenagers. So about 18,000 insurgents died in the uprising, and 25,000 were wounded. So a great loss. There's a whole almost entire generation wiped off at that point in Warsaw. The young people, the teenage people in the early 20s, these are the mostly the victims. And about 150,000 civilians died in the uprising. And after the capitulation of Warsaw, which inevitably happened, we had about 500,000 inhabitants, as far as I remember, expelled from Warsaw. And they were told to go, and they're either imprisoned in a camp, or they were just expelled, basically. They had to just fight for themselves. A lot of them never did, a lot of them died as well. So, you know, just giving these numbers, we can just realize what kind of huge, enormous effort it was of the Polish people. And obviously, being between the armies, the German and the Soviets, we had to fight because everybody was afraid of getting the Soviets in the country. Indeed, Soviets never helped, like they claimed they have helped. And, you know, so amazing effort. And today we have a lot of people from different backgrounds celebrating all this heroes of Poland, heroes of Warsaw. So these groups, you know, may have different political views. Each year they actually come together. They may argue every day, but every Pole is united on that day. This is quite amazing. People march, people ride bikes, people sing patriotic songs together. So can you tell me just maybe a little bit about how the museum is supporting? Are you joining in these celebrations? I know that there are different groups organizing these events as much as you do as well with the museum. Do you keep in touch with them in any way? And what do you think about this? What is the most, let's say, important event that is taking place? How would you classify this?
Well, I would like to underline that we are united in common efforts to commemorate what happened in 1944, and it's really fascinating that people from different backgrounds are interested in commemorating what happened then. As you said, there are different types of events. Generally, the museum is united with the city to organize different concerts and different things to commemorate what happened then. Generally, we are kind of the main institution, of course, who promotes the idea of promoting history, yes, and paying respects to those who gave their lives for freedom. And it's very difficult to classify which event would be the most important one. I believe that what's very precious to all of us who love Poland is that we may find the common language, yes, to communicate at least on this single day, yes, August the 1st, because we know how important it was to our common effort to bring freedom to our country.
And I must tell you that one, particularly after the immense beauty of the W hour, where we all just stand still for 1 minute and we just salute all these insurgents who died. But my next favorite is when we actually sing songs at the place, just the biggest place, open space in Warsaw, by the unknown grave soldier, when everybody gathers, and after all the celebrations and speeches and talks, etc., and visits and walking the streets and looking at this amazing people with black and with this sign and flags waving everywhere. And obviously we all know what this is. It's the symbol that we always have in our hearts. This is the symbol of the insurgents. This is how actually they could recognize each other, because they were not properly uniformed. They had some uniforms, of odd uniforms. So in order to recognize it, they had to wear it on their arms, indeed. Yeah. So this is very much the power of this Rising 44 today. When we see the symbols, we know what it is. So I hope to join this year into the song singing as well. But what do you think the message of the uprising is today to young people? What do you think? Do we still have to celebrate? Do you think the young people like to celebrate this, even though they, stuck on their computers all day and don't really live in real life?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, the problem is that the times are really difficult for all of us, not only because of the pandemic, but because of many challenges we have to face, yes, because our generation's aims change, yes, and people have different targets in life. But I believe that's what's very often repeated within the walls of the Warsaw Rising Museum is that we are looking for real values in our lives, yes, and looking up to the sacrifice of the Warsaw insurgents. We may state that, in fact, what's most important in our life is the fact that we need to build our lives on something that is solid. We need to remember that we are here only for a moment, yes, and this is key to understand the suffering of people during World War II, that why they were so dedicated to the cause, yes, because they knew there's something more, yes. That's why Soviets and Germans were so fed up with Poles, yes, because they did not have access to our hearts, yes, because we loved the country and we were prepared to die for it, yes. We used to say, what can they do to us? They may only kill us, yes, because the death is a part of our life, yes, but we live for something what's eternal, yes.
And something greater.
something greater, yes. So the search for something greater is also key to the understanding of the essence of the Warsaw Rising. And we say that the key message of the Warsaw Rising is that human hatred may destroy anything that's material, yes. That's what happened to Warsaw, yes. 84% of the city lied in ruins, yes, was torn down to foundations, but our enemies could not access our hearts. So this spiritual life is far more important than what we gather around us. Yes. So, so I believe that's what's so attractive about history and what happened in Warsaw. That's why people from all over the world keep coming to learn more about the Polish history, as what's the origin of our force, yes, to face all the adversities during such difficult times. So I believe once the pandemic is over, more and more people have chance to visit Warsaw, yes, learn more about the city and what happened in the past.
Well, I certainly be there this year, and I truly hope I can visit you in the museum. I think for what you said is very, very important, considering also the fact that the Warsaw Uprising was the greatest act of resistance of this type in a Nazi-occupied Europe. Nobody else dared to say to the Nazis, we're going to fight you. They were the only people, Poland, only country that said that to the Germans. And that is absolutely amazing. You have to be brave to do that. So at the end, I've got a quiz. I've got a few pictures for you, and I hope that you'll be able to see them in a minute, because I picked some places that are maybe familiar to you, and you tell me what they are. So if you just bear with me a second. As I'm trying to put this presentation on screen. Okay. All right, and I share my screen with you. And tell me when you can see.
Okay, it's fine. I can see it.
So, in my invitation to our event, I use this picture, and I think that this is the picture here. So tell me, do you know anything about this picture at all? Where is it?
It's a very well-known picture. In fact, you may see Warsaw insurgents reading one of the leaflets from the times of the Warsaw Rising. It's amazing that during the Warsaw Rising, more than 160 newspapers were being released. So imagine the freedom, yes, of press at that time. And of course, we need to remember there were this unbelievable involvement of the scouts posting and delivering letters, yes. So there are so many phenomena when you look at what was happening then in August and September 1944 in the freed Polish capital.
Exactly, fantastic. So next picture, and if you tell me, oh, why is this not moving? Ah, here we are. This sounds very familiar to me. I've been so many times in this place, but tell me, where is it exactly?
This is Krakowskie Przedmieście, and you may see, in fact, Pałac Staszica, so Staszic palace, where in front we have the statue of Copernicus, yes, our famous astronomer.
Yes, this is the one that Germans, they basically claimed it was a German, right, at that time.
Yeah, that's it. And on the right, you may see the Church of the Holy Cross, where in front we had this moving statue of Christ carrying the cross, which was in fact pulled down during the Warsaw Rising. And for Polish people, it's absolutely well known, because Christ is carrying the cross when you look at the statue, and he's having fingers pointed, yes, up to the sky. And when this statue was pulled down, well, we saw these fingers of Jesus pointing straight to the heavens. So this was very, very emotional. There is a very
symbolic as well, isn't it? Very symbolic.
And
I may have a picture of later. That's the next one, actually, which I think also this building is now rebuilt, right?
Yeah, that's the Pasta building, which was being attacked by the Polish units for a long time. In fact, as late as on August the 20th, finally, we managed to chase the Germans outside. So it was a great success, although many Poles died attacking this building. Anyway, we were happy because inside the building there was a kind of telephone center, yeah, so all calls from the Third Reich were directed straight to this building and then transmitted to the Eastern Front. So once we took over this building, Germans could not communicate with the Eastern Front. So this was very important from this point of view.
Very strategic as well, with the phone switching place. It's amazing. So that was a big win, obviously, for the insurgents. So next one, let's see. This is the one. I don't know, where is this?
It seems to me it's either the Platz Trzech Krzyży, so the square of three crosses, or it's in the new town, the church of Sakramentki, perhaps, but one of the places that were heavily bombarded during the Warsaw Rising. We need to remember that Germans would bomb the city heavily all through the Warsaw Rising. Very often civilians would find shelter inside in the basements, and when these buildings were bombarded, unfortunately, all the peoples were buried, yes, alive there.
That's very, very, very sad. And I know the old town particularly was totally flattened, like a pancake, basically.
Yeah.
And people can't believe that we actually rebuilt the whole Warsaw, and this, especially the old town, to the spec that it was like before the war. And thank God we had some plans of the royal palace, which also was totally destroyed. And we managed to rebuild. But people, when I talk to English people or any people from abroad, they can't believe that we have rebuilt this, because Warsaw was disintegrated. And the Germans' wish was that it never will be Warsaw again, basically. So proud of the people who fought. And here is another Warsaw main street somewhere.
Yeah, this is Aleje Jerozolimskie, so Jerusalem Avenue. Yeah, very famous street that crosses from the west to the east. There was a famous barricade that crossed the street, yes, enabled communication between the south and north part of the city during the Warsaw Rising.
That's amazing. So this is again very, very lively street today, with many beautiful modern buildings, and a lot of all the buildings have been rebuilt as well. Very amazing. Next will be, I probably won't tell, but this is also close to the old town, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, and we may see medical orderlies. There were so many Polish girls who joined the Warsaw Rising. It said that every fifth insurgent was a woman. So
Wow.
imagine the scale of involvement of these girls who wanted to participate in the evening. And what's amazing is that after the end of the Warsaw Rising, women were given a chance either to leave the city with the civilians or go to POW camps, and they chose the fate of the soldiers. So another story to be unveiled by people who are fascinated by World War II stories.
Yes, and a lot of them were medical. This lady here, she had a cross, so that was like a Red Cross and medical help, sanitariuszki. A lot of them were, you know, because there are a lot of casualties, so they had to be medical trained ladies and girls to help. So let's see what next one do I have. Oh, this is the modern one. And who is this? What is this, rather?
This is my workplace. This is the
your
Warsaw
workplace.
Rising Museum.
Wonderful.
This is the, yeah. So since 2004, we welcome tourists not only from Poland but from all over the world who are interested in Polish history, who want to learn more about what happened in Warsaw in 1944. So before pandemic, we used to have 700,000 people a year. So you may imagine thousands of people coming almost every single day here.
Yes, yes, indeed. And if you just tell us what is the website on, so we can just book the visit, because I understand everything now is done online.
Yeah, it's 1944.pl, and you have also the English version, so it's not a problem to book your visit.
1944.pl. This is the website of the Warsaw Rising Museum, and we'll definitely will make a booking with you. You obviously will be there as a guide, so anyone who would like to talk to Aleksandra directly, here's the chance. Okay, so a couple of more pictures. What is this one?
Well, this is one of the monuments which is placed in the southern part of Warsaw, which was created after the war. Yes, over there we light kind of a big candle. Yes, at the start of official commemorations of the Warsaw Rising every year. Yes, so this light continues to be there till October the 2nd, which marks the end of the Warsaw Rising.
So this is the symbol kotwica odwrócona.
Yeah.
What you say in English, this
fighting Poland.
Fighting Poland symbol, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and this place also very famous because of Donald Trump lately. Not so early, not that early, but I think he was there about 3-4 years ago as well.
Yeah. This monument commemorating the Warsaw Rising 1944 was unveiled as late as in 1989, so for the 45th anniversary of the Warsaw Rising. And it commemorates all those who gave their lives in the Warsaw Rising. It's placed in the old town of Warsaw, so anytime you are there, you'll be shocked at this immense statues, yes, which show our dedication to fight for our country.
And also this is the main place where the people commemorate, so all the official political parties or government agents, they will come to commemorate.
That's right.
Here. Yes.
And
this one.
Yeah, this is the statue to the little insurgent. Very often people who look at the statue think that kids were involved in great numbers in the Warsaw Rising and fought at the barricades. We need to remember that kids were involved in the Rising, but they would not fight at the barricades, yes, because we did not have enough weapons to fight Germans with, so who would give them to kids? This is one of the arguments. Yes, we may say anytime there's discussion on the subject. we need to remember that kids were involved as little postmen. Yes, they would deliver letters, they would distribute newspapers, leaflets during the Rising. Yes, they would help within the units, but at the back of the front. Yes, so this is the sculpture which commemorates all those involved in the Rising, because lots of kids got killed by the snipers, by bombardments, yes, by artillery during the Warsaw Rising.
Thank you very much, and I very much know where this is. This is just by the column, the main central place, by the royal palace as well. Everybody who is there should come always and visit this one, because it's very, very significant.
Yes, and very touching.
My son, who is 10, he always was very curious about that one as well. Had a lot of explanation to do why the children having guns, etc. So this is also very educational, you know, for children, for schools.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and this one, very nice, beautiful mural.
Lots of such places in Warsaw, yes, which shows that even today, the ideals of the Warsaw Rising are very close to the hearts of people. Yes. And they want to remember, commemorate what happened in the past, because people very often feel it in their hearts that we cannot move on, we cannot find anything in the future if we forget about what happened in the past.
Absolutely, and I must say that because of your explanation of these pictures, I'm so much more, the whole uprising is so much clearer to me, and all these places in Warsaw are so familiar now, but when you think about the past, this is a heroic city, and we have to remember that. So I would like to say at this note, thank you very much, Aleksandra. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for giving us these insights into the world of the Uprising 44. We will visit the museum. We will look at the website. And I just say at the end, cześć i chwała bohaterom.
Glory to the heroes.
Glory to the heroes. Thank you so much.